Hey everyone, welcome back to yet another video. Today we are doing our picks for week 15 of the NFL season. Last week we ended up going 8-6. Here's the games that I got right, here's the games that I got wrong. And let's go ahead and get into this week's picks. Starting off with the Atlanta Falcons going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Falcons, they ended up not doing all too well, losing to the Seahawks 37-9, and their rush game was the only bit that was actually good. And they're going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who lost to the Saints 24-20. That's even, I feel like that's even more embarrassing of a loss. And honestly, I'm going to go with the Falcons in this game. I just don't trust Baker Mayfield and the Bucs this season. And when I look at the rush games, I just trust the Falcons' rush game more. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Bucs, even though they might be overall not in the best spot, just coaching wise either. But I just don't trust the Bucs. I somehow trust the Falcons more than the Bucs. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Bucs. Well, Falcons, I mean. Next up, we have the Cleveland Browns going up against the Chicago Bears. The Browns, they ended up losing a close one to the Titans. And they lose to the Titans, that's just not a good look. Especially when that was their second win of the whole year. They're going up against the Chicago Bears, who lost a good game against the Packers. I know, but the Bears looked at least decent in that game against a good defense, and I think they should be able to go ahead and beat the Browns. And I just think the Bears it might be a closer game because Caleb hasn't been the best this year, especially to what I hoped he would be, but I think they do end up getting it done and they have against all the other bad opponents before the Packers. But yeah, I think the Bears get it done. Next up, we have the Baltimore Ravens heading into Cincinnati to face the Bengals. The Ravens, yeah, I'm still not sold by them. They could barely do it against the Steelers. There's not really all too much that I like about the Ravens right now. They're facing the Cincinnati Bengals, who, I just say, Joe Burrow may be back. I'm just saying. And I think because Joe Burrow is back, I think they do end up winning this game. I think, the Ravens, it's just not going to do all too much, I think. And I think the Bengals end up sweeping the Ravens. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Chargers going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chargers, they ended up getting it done against the Eagles this past Monday with Herbert's broken hand. They're facing the Chiefs, who didn't do all too well against the Texans in this good defense. I think the Chiefs do end up winning this game. And Patrick Mahomes, I don't think he plays the best, but I think he does enough to get it done. Considering I'm not too sold about Herbert's broken hand yet, since the Eagles has fallen off a little bit, but I'm ahead with the Chiefs. I think they split the series, and I think the Chiefs' playoff hopes stays alive following this week. Next up, we have the Buffalo Bills facing the New England Patriots. The Bills beating the Bengals 39-34 this past week in a game that actually was the game of the week of the noon slate. They're facing the Patriots, who was on bye this past week and continues to be one of the better teams of the league. With this game, I actually think that they are going to split. The Bills win this game, I think the Bills has just been a better team than what they are, what they were earlier in the season when these two teams faced off. And the Patriots has not really faced all too great of opponents quite like recently. Yes, the Patriots do have some close battles with some of the better ones of those not so great opponents, but I think the Bills end up pulling it off this time. They didn't have a 3-point split, I think the first time they played, and I think the Bills end up winning this one. Next up, we have the Washington Commanders going up against the New York Giants. Do I even have to talk about the Commanders last game? They just got shut out by the Vikings, of all teams. So, yeah, that's not really too great. The Giants, the last time we saw them, they were on bye against the Patriots. And I just have much more hope for the Giants than I would the Commanders right now. Commanders, they probably just took the worst team of the league title since, I don't know what happened against the Vikings. They have not won a single game since week, I want to say 5. So, yeah, that's really not good. So, I'm going to go with the Giants here. And I think the Commanders' losing streak continues. Next up, we have the Las Vegas Raiders going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Raiders, someone out there had to have had money on this spread because the Raiders is covered, but no matter what, the Raiders still lost by a touchdown, and the Eagles, they ended up losing by a field goal to the Chargers, but no matter how much I think the Philadelphia Eagles has fallen off, I do think they will still win this game against the Raiders. The Raiders are that bad of a team to where I think the Eagles are just going to outright win this game. Next up, we have the New York Jets going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Do I even have to go over this game, honestly? The Jets suck. The Jaguars, they just beat the Colts by a bunch. There's really no explaining it. I'm just going to go ahead and go with the Jaguars. And yeah, I'm just going with Duval. Next up, we have the Arizona Cardinals going up against the Houston Texans. The Cardinals, they did not really do all too well against the Rams this past week. Granted, it was the Rams. And the Texans, their defense is pretty much kept the Chiefs in check, winning 20-10. I think the defense will keep the Cardinals in check. It may still be a bit of a closer game because that's how the Cardinals game has been outside of those divisional games. But I am going to go ahead and go with the Texans in this one. I just think they have a better roster. Next up, we have the Green Bay Packers going up against the Denver Broncos. The Packers, they ended up winning 28-21 against the Bears. Yeah. And the Broncos, they ended up winning against the Raiders. This is the toughest opponent for the Broncos in quite some time. I think the Packers is going to win this game, as they just have a better, they have a better roster, better offense, better. I'm not going to say better defense because both defenses are pretty good, but I wouldn't go with the Packers here because they have that much better of an offense. So, yeah. Next up, we are going to go with we have the Detroit Lions going up against the Los Angeles Rams. The Lions, they ended up pulling it off against the Cowboys 44-30. And for the Rams, they did pretty good against the Cardinals. When I look at this game, the Lions, now hear me out. The last time the Rams faced a good rusher, the Panthers. What was their last good rushing team before that? Can you even name it? Because it's been a while. and Trevor Hubbard was able to find something against the Rams. I think the Lions is going to be able to find something against that Rams rushing defense. Now, I do expect this game to be a high-scoring game, but I think the Lions just barely pull it off. I want to say it's in the upper 60s, if not even 70s, in terms of how many total points is scored in this game. Maybe lower 60s, but I'm expecting 60 plus. But I think the Lions do end up winning this game. Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers going up against the New Orleans Saints. The Panthers, they ended up beating the Rams the last time we saw them, as they might have found something. The Saints, they beat the Bucs this past week. I'm not overly sold on the Saints right now, as I am going to take the Panthers. I'm not overly sold on the Saints because that generally was a fallen off opponent of the Buccaneers, and I think the Panthers might take the division at this point, and that goes with winning this game. Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans going up against the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers ended up beating against the Titans. Well, I think the 49ers will beat the Titans because the last time we saw the 49ers, they beat the Browns by a whole bunch. The Titans, they only beat the Browns by like 2 points last week. I don't know what was happening in my head there, but I want to go ahead and go with the 49ers here. It's probably because I'm going a lot faster than usual, but I recorded this video a bit ago and I didn't have the mic on, so I'm just trying to go faster right now, so yeah, sorry. Sorry this video is a little bit less quality because of that, but whatever. But I'm going to have the 49ers here, and yeah, I just think the 49ers are that much better of a team. Next up, we have a Philip Rivers-led Indianapolis Colts in the 2025 going up against the Seattle Seahawks. This is such a bad game for Philip Rivers to start. I'm just going to say that right now. This is such a bad game. I'm just having the Seahawks win. I don't think the Colts really all do all too much this game, considering this is Rivers' first game in like 4 years, and going up against that defense, good luck. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Seahawks here, and yeah, I don't really have to say much else. Next up, we have the Minnesota Vikings going up against the Dallas Cowboys. The Vikings shutting out the Commanders. However, I don't entirely trust J.J. McCarthy yet. The Cowboys, they lost to the Lions. And I think for this game, I think J.J. McCarthy will regress back to his usual play level of not being too good. So, and I think the Dallas Cowboys will win. And I just think Dallas is an overall better team than the Vikings right now. And finally, we have the Miami Dolphins going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Dolphins, Devon Achane is such a good runner. He scored 21 points against the Jets in the first quarter, and they eventually won 34-10. The Steelers, I'm not overly sold on them quite yet. They won 27-22 against the Ravens, but before that game, the Steelers was quite a bit iffy in my mind. And for this game, I think the Black Magic is going to do it for the Steelers. I think, while I trust Devon Achane more than Aaron Rodgers right now, I just think the Steelers' Black Magic will get them to that 9-8 record, which will include this game. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Steelers here. And yeah, I think they just get to 9-8 somehow this season. But with that being said, that's it for this video. If you guys liked it, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!